Alright, so some of you have been asking me what I hate about the Quadrifoglio. The first thing I'll tell you is every time I start this thing, the machine is a beast, but every time I start this car, I have to hit back roads and slow down. This auto eco mode shut off, so that every time I come to a stop, the car shuts itself off and it runs on the battery. And it's annoying because I can't stand that. So I always feel like the car's basically stalled at every light. So I always have to disable that. And there's no way to shut that feature off by default. So Alfa, if you're listening, put in a firmware upgrade so that us owners can have more fine-tuning capability with the machine, just like the M3. Oh, we got some geese crossing the street here. All right, buddy, you can sit here all day and watch these geese. I'm gonna go this way. So that's my number one complaint. Second thing, which is kind of annoying, I didn't realize this, but on the 2017 versus the 18 model, they flipped the buttons on the back of the trunk. So the lock button is now the technical difficulties. See, this is what happens when you run on a budget, low budget production. So yeah, the button on the trunk that used to lock the vehicle is now the trunk release, and the trunk release button is now the door lock. So that's very annoying. What else do I hate about the Giulia? I love the interior of the new replacement. It's beautiful. The red on red is just a classic touch. I don't see why more dealerships didn't order them standard like this. This is it's a little flashy, but it's not as flashy as having all red leather seats. It's just a nice touch. CarPlay in the 2018 model is a game changer. Still a little bit buggy and slow. I had to unplug my phone and plug it back in because it was locked on a screen that I couldn't get out of. So there's still some quirks. I did have another electrical issue. I think the infotainment went blank on me one time, but it was very minor. I think it came back up. But yeah, there's minor quirks here and there, but hey, you know, that's what you get for a Alfa model, right? So hopefully they got it right in beta. So what else can I say about the car? Oh, the 2018, I feel, came from the factories tuned better than last year's model. The 2017 models, every time I started that one up, it just sounded like a, I don't know, an M3. The difference with the 2018 model is when you start that one, this one actually sounds like it's in race mode when you start it. Whereas the other one, if you started in race mode or dynamic, normal, or A mode, you do not get that rumble when you start the vehicle. So it sounds a little more meaner when you start it, which I love that. It's a great combination when you do the remote start with that. What else? It feels a little stiffer, but I think it's only because there's only 300 miles on this car right now, so I think it's just a break-in issue. But the last year's model, the old one, had felt a little more softer suspension. This one, everything feels tight from the steering to the suspension, but I think, like I said, it just hasn't been broken in yet, so we'll see. I do feel that the last year's model, the ride stance is about an inch. I haven't verified it, but it feels and looks like an inch lower than the late 2018 model. I do prefer the stance on last year's model. Another thing that did not go away was the issue that I had from the get-go with the first one There's a thing called the Ackerman angle, and it is basically a configuration of the front axles to give better stability and turning on high performance vehicles like Porsches. Most of the exotic cars, they tune the front angles to give you better, sharper steering. But in turn, when you're backing up, when I back up in both the Quadrifoglios, it feels like the front tires are slipping and they're not gripping. It's kind of hard to explain, but it feels like the axle is about to break every time I make a sharp turn at a low speed. So every time I'm getting out of the parking spot or the garage, I'm hearing that, and it doesn't sound good. But I'm hopeful that the new tires, some Michelins that I'll be putting on here soon, all season weathered tires, will perform better and will remove that issue. But I'm home now, so I gotta run, get the girls up for breakfast. I'll talk to you later. Check it out. Bye.